Happy Wednesday, everybody. How are you doing? Gonna give people just a couple of seconds to hop on. Today, I'm Twanna Carter. I am a career transition coach, and I want to give folks a few minutes to hop on. Today, we're talking about the top 7 questions to ask before hiring a career coach. And it is really important and really can be used for any type of coach, life coach, career coach, business coach, etc., etc. For those of you who don't know me, again, I'm Dr. Tawana Carter, and I help professional women, high achieving professional women, overcome that doubt and anxiety that can come with shifting into a new career, getting a promotion, that any of those. And I do that by helping them to recognize and communicate their unique value, and as well by instilling a deep sense of belief in their own strengths and abilities so that they can confidently and courageously create success on their own terms and pursue the path of purpose that's really meaningful to them. So, as you're hopping on, do drop yes in the comments if you can actually hear me. And I just want to pop over. I'm live in a couple places tonight. So those of you on LinkedIn, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. Those of you on Facebook, welcome to you as well. And for those of you who are viewing this on LinkedIn, you too are welcome. And for those of you who catch me on the replay, drop hashtag replay in the comments and let me know you caught this on the replay. And those of you who are on live, go ahead and drop where you're hopping on from. Always love to travel. I'm, fiercely doing my research now to try to figure out where I'm traveling to first. I love it. I'm hoping COVID still continues to improve and we don't do the lockdown thing again because I am ready to travel both domestically and overseas. So, without further ado, I hope you guys can indeed hear me. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So, today again is the top 7 questions to ask before you hire a career coach. And these are important because you want to hire the right person for the right fit. Some of you have had maybe some experiences where you got all excited, you were doing some renovations of your home, and you're like, oh, this is the person they came in. You were kind of like, oh, it's not quite what I wanted. It's not the color I thought this would be better quality. I thought I would get this and not that. And it can be disappointing. I had one of my clients tell me, yeah, I get quite a bit of buyer's remorse. And if you ask these top 7 questions, you can kind of prevent getting buyer's remorse with your career coach. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. So, important questions, and these are not necessarily in order of importance because they're all important, right? But number one is you want to ask your career coach, how many and what types of clients have you coached in the past? See, that is very, very important, right? Because some folks, there are diabetic coaches out there. If you have diabetes, right? There are diabetic coaches out there that coach you with diabetes. That may not be the right coach for you if you're trying to get a promotion, into the C-suite. If you've got diabetes, great coach. But if you're trying to get that promotion into C-suite, maybe not. So you'll want to ask the career coach, how many clients have you coached and what types of clients have you coached, right? Ask about, their experience of coaching other people, because at the end of the day, you are hiring a coach because you need help and your needs are unique, right? Yes, this person may be hiring to C-suite. Maybe it's your first time. So that's different. Maybe it's your 10th time and you're ready to, go into another industry. Your needs are going to be unique. So before you commit to working with someone, you want to make sure they have experience working with people just like you. And if they don't have relevant experience, or you kind of shaky about it, you're not really sure, definitely go ahead and ask for references. I have clients that said, hey, I need to speak to 3 people you work with. I was like, great. I had, my current client sign a release form. I had the potential client sign a release form that I could release their name one to the other, and then they spoke, right? And so you can also ask, if you kind of sort of not sure, ask for references. Talk to those former clients to determine if the coach is a really good fit for your goals. It's very important, you know. And if possible, find out how many clients they've worked with in total, right? And what types of results did those clients achieve? You know, like I tell folks, I mainly coach women. It's not that I don't coach men, because actually everything I learned about coaching, I learned it working with men. I just happened to have re-niched to women because I needed a career coach and I didn't ask for one. I didn't know to get one. And so, I'm just really committed to working with that population. But I have guys that sign up for, my free consultations, and we sit down and we talk. It's like, yeah, I'm a veteran. I've worked with veterans over the years. I've worked with hundreds of people, right? And so you'll want to know, what kind of clients have you worked with? And then what kind of results did they get, right? You can also check whether or not there, are reviews. Some of my clients review me on Google or different places. You can ask for that too, right? And so again, you'll want to know, how many clients have they worked with, and what types of clients have they worked with, because that's important. Some career coaches may specialize. They only help people get into the federal government. Some folks are specialized. They only help folks in IT. They only help folks in HR. So you'll want to know that, so that it's a good fit for what you're needing. Okay. Number two, second question is, can I see your coaching process, right? A good coach will have this. Many coaches, if they have a website, they'll have this on a website, but not every coach has a website. And to be honest, you don't need a website. That's not a requirement. I know I do. I have one because I know folks that, often ask me when they meet, well, just give me your website. Can I get your website address? They'll even ask me. They'll, in messaging back and forth, and can I get your website address? For most of us, that's important, but you don't have to have one. So I will say that if your career coach doesn't have a website, that's really not a mark against him or her. They are probably getting their clients through word of mouth, and they can be really great career coaches without a website, right? But if they do have a website, check out that website, because oftentimes you will see their coaching process there, right? The coaching process is fairly structured. It can be really structured. It can be really intensive, and a dynamic way to overcome your career challenges. And I certainly don't believe that one size fits all. I don't believe in one size fits all solution. And you'll want to know if your coach has a process, and can they individualize a process to fit you, right? And I've had some friends who hired a coach, and they're like, no, everybody got the same thing. Here's a video, watch the video, answer these questions, you've been coached. Yay. And my friends were not happy, because that was a cookie size approach. One size fits all. It's nothing wrong with watching videos. Sometimes I have my clients watch videos, but for me, it's important to get that one-to-one contact with the client. And so I am the coach that really sees the client one-to-one. And when I run groups, and sometimes I will do groups as well, but my clients are still getting coached one-to-one live coaching from me. So you want to check that out. Your coach should be working with you to identify the steps that are best suited for you, for your situation, and for your goals, not because, well, every client that comes through does exactly the same thing, right? And your coach will actually also expect you, in this case, because you're looking at the process, they're going to want you to commit to following that process as it fits you. Be honest about what you want from the coaching experience, and then spend some time each week setting those goals, working on the things you said you work on, and then also sharing feedback about where you are, where your hiccups are, and what you do need as they move further, right? And many coaches will also ask for feedback throughout that process, to be sure their process is being individualized to you. And I often tell my clients, yes, I have this VIP process. I surely do, but you cannot hire me as your coach without going through a consultation with me. I don't. You can't go to my website, click on it, and then just buy my coaching program. You have to come see me. We have to sit down in a consultation, because I'm going to go through my process, and we're going to talk, and I'm going to see if my process can actually help you. Because if it doesn't, then I won't take you on as a client, and that way you won't be wasting your money hiring me as a coach when I can't help you in the first place. And so that's important. That coaching process is really important. Right? Question number 3: how will you challenge me? It's a really great question because you need to be challenged. You really don't need a coach who just kind of pats you on the head and say, "Oh, don't worry about anything. It'll be okay." No, you need to be challenged. All right. A career coach's job is to help you think differently, open your mind up to the new opportunities, right? And so they should have a really answer ready for this question. If they're going to help you grow, they need to be able to challenge you, right? They need to be able to challenge you in ways that are productive. They need to challenge you in ways that are fun, right? Making sure that you stay motivated as well as being productive in your sessions together. The more ideas or different ways of thinking about something that they throw at you, the better. You'll want to be challenged. And I didn't say you got to agree with everything your career coach says. And your career coach doesn't have to agree with everything he says, but challenging is different. It's about widening and shifting that mindset, and so that you're opening and going through some cognitive dissonance sometimes, right? And I do challenge my coachees, my clients. I do challenge them, right? And I'll be honest with them. I was like, I don't want to see you struggle too much, but I want to see you struggle through this answer. I want you to wrestle with that question, wrestle with that answer, right? And one thing, to note is when it comes to challenging, right? Because there are different challenges and coaches challenge you differently. Now, if you are a person and you want a drill sergeant type coach, like that's all in your face, you're like, yeah, what did you do this year? Ah, and they're all in your grill, you probably won't get much benefits from a career coach who, in your belief is just too nice and too logical and kind of negotiate. That might not be the best fit coach for you. Now, on the other hand, if you do not like a lot of conflict, you don't like that up in your face, did you do this challenge and challenge after challenge after challenge, then the drill sergeant coach might not, the drill sergeant coach who's a little bit pushy or a lot of bit pushy, that coach might not be the best fit for you, right? Now, I tell you, and I've actually, worked with coaches, with clients, coaches and clients, and said this, I'm that coach. I'm very flexible. When you need me to, I'm gonna walk beside you, right? We're gonna get through this together. Every blue moon, I might need to step ahead of you, take you by the hand, and pull you a little bit and motivate you. And then, every blue moon, like once in a while, I might be the coach that drops behind you, kicks your butt, and says, "What are you doing? What are you waiting on?" Right? That's a flexible career coach, and that's really what you want. So a coach who can do both. That may be a better fit because when you need that person who negotiates with you, who sits down and talks you through, you may need that. You may not need someone who's like pushy, pushy, pushy all the time. I'm not a pushy, pushy, pushy coach, but I will challenge you. And I remember I had a coach last year. She had been out of her career field for 10 years and she wanted to get back in. And so that's what she hired me to do. And so there was a mindset issue. And so I challenged it. I pushed her a little bit and she dug in. And so I pushed her some more and she dug in. And, I was going through and telling her why I was pushing and trying to get her to see a bigger picture, get that shift. And at one point during that coaching session, she said, "Look, let me tell you something. I'm going to say this once and I'm not going to say it again." I was like, uh-oh. And so she said her piece and I listened to it. I respected what she had to say. And I came back and said, "I still challenge you." And so we went through the session and I said, "So are you going to fire me? You're coming back to see me next week?" She said, "I'll be back to see you next week." So it is really about understanding how to massage because, clients do need that massaging. And by the way, that client rather, the coachee did get that job. And she actually texted me a couple of weeks ago and she's doing so well. She told me she still thinks about me because it was, for a minute there, I thought, "Ooh, she's going to fire me tonight." And really, a good coach should have those moments. A good coach will have those moments where clients will get a little bit like, "Really? Are you?" As she said, let me tell you something. You should be pushed to that point. Not every session, obviously, But sometimes because it ended up broadening her mind, it shifted her mindset to land a job that was perfectly fit, a perfect fit for her. All right, so there's benefits to being challenged, right? But again, if you're the person who doesn't like conflict, you just cannot do that. Then you want to ask your coach, because there are a lot of coaches who are, very nice. They negotiate with you. They simply ask questions, and you're good to go. And I will say this, that I have some clients that come to me and go, no, coach would only ask me questions. If I asked their opinion, they wouldn't tell me. If I asked for feedback, they wouldn't tell me. They would only ask me question after question after question. And that bothered me. Sometimes I need the feedback. That's why you ask up front, so you know what kind of coach that you're getting. Okay. Because you'll definitely want a career coach who is able to keep pushing your limits and pushing for change in your life that wouldn't ordinarily happen on its own, but also respect, so that you're not made so uncomfortable that the coaching becomes miserable. So you want to have that in between mix there, right? And so it does mean asking them about how they'll challenge you. And because challenge is really a good thing at the end of the day, right? Number four, we're on question number four in case you're keeping up. And the question number four is like, how do you give feedback, or do you even give feedback? As I said before, I've had clients who said, coach never would give me feedback. They never would offer feedback. Even when I asked, they would not give me feedback. Some people don't. It's your coaching session. It's not about me. It's not about my ideas. It's not about that. But you'll want to ask, what's your style of coaching? Ask them their style of coaching, and how do you give feedback, or do you give feedback, right? Do they use a lot of positive reinforcement and encouragement? Or are they kind of like that drill sergeant? Look in here, maggot. You can't handle the truth. Oh, sorry, flashback. So some people love that style of coaching. I don't, right? I don't, that's not what I need for a coach. But some people love it. It motivates them, it inspires them, and they achieve well beyond what they ever would have without their coach, right? Right? And so understanding that feedback is not criticism. Feedback is where you go. A lot of, if you know anything about NLP, neuristic, you know, the NLP, I can't even pronounce the word now, neuro linguistic program. There we go. There's no failure, there's feedback. And if you understand that, you will know when you talk to the coach, like, what's your opinion on failure? How do you give feedback? Because failure is just feedback. It means something didn't go right. Either you need to come back and redo it, or you need to shift and do something else, or abandon altogether. But you take that failure as feedback. Coaches who really believe in that are really great coaches, right? And so you'll definitely, like I said, you'll want to know, out, do you offer feedback? Some people they don't like conflict, and so they may not offer you feedback because they feel like it's a conflict. You'll want to know that up front, right? And you'll want a coach who offers feedback without making you feel defensive, right? Without making you feel defensive. And also, it's important for you, if a coach, you ask for feedback and you get it, it's important for you to understand not to become defensive about the feedback. Remember that feedback is offered to help you grow into a space where you're not now, right? And so number five, if you're keeping up, ask your coach, how will you help me maximize opportunities, right? You got a closed-minded coach. Closed-minded coaches are not really going to help you maximize opportunities. Your coach should really help you figure out what opportunities are available to you and figure out how to best maximize those opportunities, right? For instance, your coach may be to help you identify new career paths that align with your skills and your interests and your desires, right? And so many career coaches will use assessments. I use them. I don't just go by assessment. That's also why I do a free consultation, because I need to know about you. Assessments give me certain information, but that human to human assessment that I do is way more valuable for me than a pen and paper assessment. They're both great, but I like to talk to you and really dig down, do that deep dive to figure out who you are, right? A good career coach might also be helping you to prepare for an upcoming interview or job offer, and they can do that because they know you, right? they understand you and they can help you maximize those benefits, right? And so that it becomes smooth selling. And so even though for the the client that I was talking about, you know, she would have been very comfortable staying in the mindset where she was, but I happened to know about the career field she was going into, and she had to open up some because there were going to come challenges her way of walking into that when you walk into a corporate environment from a nonprofit, that's a big difference. It's a huge difference, right? And 10 years out of the corporate environment and in that nonprofit, there were some changes, so I was pushing her to shift that mindset and be prepared to go back into that corporate environment. And it worked, as she's doing well now, right? Your career coach should know the ins and out of their industry, not always yours, right? And I tell people I'm a mindset coach. With my career coaching, I do a lot of mindset. So I don't necessarily know every single thing about every industry out there. There are some industries, obviously, I know more things about. I come from a STEM background. And so I'm analytical. I like working with folks in STEM and working with folks in tech and working with the data analysts. And so I do well with that just because that's my background, right? But that's not to say every coach needs that. Because if you're a mindset coach, you don't have to understand every single industry because you can do mindset coaching all day long and not know the ins and out of every single industry. But if you're looking to finesse something within the industry, by all means, ask that coach, what industry do you have experience in? Because that could be important for you, right? I have all spent a lot of time in the human services careers. And so some folks will peg me only knowing human services, but when they figure out, I minored in zoology, I have a minor I majored in zoology, and have a minor in chemistry, that puts a different spin on it. And then when they hear I work with folks in tech and I work with folks in those technical backgrounds, that puts a different spin. So you want to talk to your coach because the coach should be well-rounded to fit what you need, right? And for instance, there are some career coaches, all they do is help teachers transition from teaching. So you may want a coach who's been a teacher before. And the reason why I say that, because I've been a teacher before. I know what it is to transition from teaching to something else. And so it becomes very important. If you have a coach who doesn't understand teaching, who doesn't understand what it is to come out, they may not quite be the fit that you need, but ask them the questions. Because if you're needing more mindset and they do the mindset piece, they could probably help you. Okay. And knowing getting a career coach who understands your industry means that they can spot potential opportunities for growth in traditional settings as well as new and emerging fields, right? And we'll get to another piece down a bit because I'll tell you why this will come in handy. And I'll tell you why in just a few minutes, right? You know, should coaches should be able to answer questions like for you, what does my company look like, look for in a candidate? That's important to know, right? For teaching, if you're going into teaching into tech, it's a different mindset shift. And to be sure, teachers do it all. Let's just face it, teachers do a lot. They don't just stand in front of a class and teach. There's so many transferable skills that they have. Same thing for nurses who are coming out of nursing and transitioning into tech or transitioning into therapy or transitioning into coaching, right? You want a coach who can help you look like, what does that look like for someone like me coming into this career field? How do I stand out from other candidates? And what traits do I have that suit me well? But what else am I missing? What are the gaps, right? And that's one of the things that I happen to do exceptionally well is help people figure out those gaps and then help you fill in the gaps because that's what keeps people stuck. They stay stuck in a job and they want to leave because they feel like they have gaps and those gaps they can't fill them, so they stay stuck. And so when I bring people in, it's like, actually, first of all, the gaps are not as wide as you think, but also here's some resources to help you fill in the gaps so you can do X, Y, Z. And that's also, why career coaches help you with interviewing how to answer those questions because, I told people I've had 11 career transitions, right? And only 2 of those I did the same thing, just twice. I came back to teaching twice. Other than that, every career field was different. With that experience, I help people get prepared for the different career shifts. And knowing how to interview and speak to the questions is what's important. That's why you want to understand how will your career coach help you maximize opportunities. After all, this is one of the most important reasons why you get a career coach, right? Number six, what kind of support do you offer after the program ends, right? And so I know for me, I have a group that everyone that coaches with me is optional, but I have a group that everybody you can join. It's a secret group. You can't find it on Facebook. I have to, admit you to that group. But the point of that is so you can come in, chit chat, talk, network, and still get some support. I also offer unlimited support to my platform. So each person that comes to me gets a file on my platform that's individualized to them. You have unlimited support to that. So that anytime you need a refresher, you forget something, you can come back and get that support. So ask your coach, you know, what kind of support do you give after the program ends? Because a good coach will have resources, whether it's a group like I have or whether it's a platform where you have unlimited access to, typically a great coach will have those resources for you, right? Because hiring a career coach, right, can be a really powerful, powerful boost to your career. So asking the right questions before hiring, right, is really, really important. Okay. So one of the things that number seven that we'll talk about is very important. Have you been through a career coach yourself, or are you being coached yourself? Self-explanatory. This question speaks to the coach's belief in the power of coaching. Personally, I'm never going to hire a coach who doesn't have a coach. I'm just not. My coaches, and I have two, right? I have a mentor coach and I have a bit, actually have net three now. A mentor coach, a business coach, and a marketing coach, right? Each of those coaches help me grow. I go in and say, I ran into this. What do you think about that? We go back and forth, and it helps me to grow and be a better coach. You know, do you really want a coach who doesn't understand what it is to be a client? They don't understand how to be a client? Who's never really struggled through a coaching journey? Personally, I don't. You know, I need for my coach to be periodically get coaching. I need that, right? And I have three coaches now. I just hired another one, but I've had three, two to three at one time, and they help with different things, right? So that is so important, right? Now I'm going to tell you a bonus question as well. So we'll call it question number 8. You want to ask, do you offer consultations? Some coaches offer free consultations. I do, right? I'm committed to that. I have the belief that everybody should be coached at least once in their life. More than that, but at least once, right? But some coaches don't offer free consultations. It just depends on the coach, depends on the time. And some coaches have gotten burned because people don't show up. And I have people that don't show up, but I'm actually committed to offering that free consultation. So I still do it. And I understand some people will charge a nominal price. They may charge $40. Some may charge $100. It is that coaches, it's each of us are different. But you'll want to ask, that's a bonus question. Ask, do you offer consultations? Because consultation allows you as a client to get a little bit of coaching, like without paying for it. For the folks that don't have you pay for, but it also allows me to figure out if I want to work with you as a client, because there are clients I don't take on. We do that consultation, and I'm like, that energy is not fitting for me. They're not like quite motivated, and they're not committed. I'm only going to work with someone who is motivated, someone who is committed, because that's where we get results. Never want a client to walk away and say, yeah, this is a waste of my money. So I'm only going to work with that client who is committed, right? Now, if you notice through all 7 other questions and the bonus question, I gave you a bonus, I didn't say ask about price. And I know some people will tell you to ask about that. If you're just meeting a coach and that coach individualizes coaching for you, they may not quite know which package you fit into. Now, some coaches just have one package. Either you fit that package or not, right? And so they can't tell you, here's what I charge, here's what you get. But for me, I individualize. I have people that come to me just for anxiety coaching. They're like, nope, I don't need career coaching. I just need anxiety coaching. I have folks who come to me and say, yeah, I've been here about 15 years. I really need a lot of help, but I got to get it kind of fast. I may offer that person a 4-month coaching program. I have other folks who are like, really, this is a long-term shift for me. And I have some issues reading cultures, fitting into the culture when I first get a new job. I need a coach to travel with me through that first 1, 2, or 3 months. Well, those clients, I may offer my 6-month coaching program, my VIP career confidence program. So I never know that until I sit down with you in a consultation, which is why you can't go to my website and buy my programs, because I have to meet with you to figure out what you need, individualize it to you, and really to decide if I really want to work with you. And in turn, you should be figuring out if you really want to work for me, right? That's important. Now, are you ready to make a change? Because if you're ready to make a change, before jumping into making an appointment with a coach, here's some questions to ask yourself. I talked about what you need to ask your coach, but now this is a bonus. I'm going to tell you what you need to ask yourself. Ask yourself these 5 questions. What do I really want out of my career? Right? What are my goals? And do they align with my current situation? Is this something I can do on my own, or do I really need outside support? Right? And then how much time and money am I willing to invest in this process? And will it be worth it? I can tell you my average return on investment is, for every dollar spent, the client ends up making about $8. So it's really great return on investment. Those are the things you need to ask yourself. And then number 5, am I ready for change and growth in my life right now? Because if you answer no to this question, you may not be ready for a coach. You may not be ready for a career coach, right? So I gave you that 7 questions and a bonus question about the questions it's important for you to ask a career coach before you hire them. But I just gave you 5 questions that you need to ask yourself before you jump into coaching, right? Very, very important. So if you're listening to this or you hear this on a replay and you're like, I can answer those 5 questions, and yes, I am ready. I do give free consultations. I do a 15-minute consultation. So I have a process that I go through. So I do a 15-minute consultation, which is enough for me to figure out if, I want to work for you, and for you to figure out if you want to work with me, right? So I popped it out there for the free consultation. I'll put that in there. And then after that free consultation, if you and I are a good fit, then I'll offer you a 45 to 60-minute consultation, right? Because that's when we do the deep dive and I start to go down that list and we start looking at where you are, where do you want to be, what is the gap, how do we best fill that gap? That's when I bring out my process and start individualizing it for you. And so again, I offer a 15-minute free consultation up front. You just sign up for it. You can use that link. And again, if we fit, if we click, if you're like, yes, I think I can work with you, then I come back and I offer you a 45-minute to 60-minute consultation where the true magic in the coaching starts to happen, right? So I have a Facebook user that says, awesome information. Thank you so much, Habiba. And let me know if I'm pronouncing that right. Because Habiba is, if I'm correct, a coach as well, right? And so definitely, I'm sure people are coaches and they don't get coached, but I'm just saying, I personally will not hire a coach who's not being coached as well, right? And all of my coaches are like me. They have 1, 2, or 3 coaches. So that's the best thing. So Habiba says, yes, she is a coach. Absolutely. And I think if I remember correctly, we're in the same career field. We're career coaches. We just come about at it a little differently. And that's one of the things I love about coaching is it's not competition because we're all helping each other. And if a client doesn't fit me, I'm more than willing to, refer to someone else who does, right? And that's just the way it works. Because there's certain enough people that need the help. And that's why I love this job, right? Love it, love it, love it. So thank you very much for those of you who are hanging in here with me tonight and you stayed until the end. I'll be back here next Wednesday, same bat time, same bat place. Enjoy your evening, your afternoon, or your morning. Take care. Bye bye.